The Genius Act was just signed, making America the crypto capital of the world.
Stablecoin has become law.
And now today, you have another historic legislative achievement that is a monumental step to fulfilling your promise to making the United States the crypto capital of the world. This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system.
Everyone keeps talking about how this is going to revolutionize payments, how stablecoins are going to provide fast, free, frictionless payment and settlement. That's not the point. The Genius Act is a signal that the existing financial system is crumbling. In today's episode, I'll show you exactly what's happening, and I'll show you why you don't need to listen to the talking heads talking about payments. It's about the dollar crumbling. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Let's go.
Today marks a seminal moment for digital assets and global dollar dominance, with President Trump signing the Genius Act into law. This bill provides the fast-growing stablecoin market with the regulatory clarity it needs to grow into a trillion-dollar industry. Stablecoins represent a revolution in digital finance. The dollar now has an internet-native payment rail that is fast, frictionless, and free of middlemen. This groundbreaking technology will buttress the dollar status as a global reserve currency, expand access to the dollar economy for billions across the globe, and lead to a surge in demand for U.S. Treasuries, which back stablecoins. The Genius Act is a win-win-win for everyone involved: stablecoin users, stablecoin issuers, and the U.S. Treasury Department.
The Genius Act is not about faster cross-border payments and settlements. It's not so that you can buy coffee with your Bitcoin or a burger at Steak and Shake. It's because the dollar is crumbling. It's about dollar dominance, period. The Genius Act was because no one wants U.S. debt, and the dollar has been collapsing ever since Donald Trump came into office. If you look at bond returns by decade, well, we're on track for the worst decade performance of all time. People are losing faith in the United States system, and no one is buying the debt. The dollar is down over 8% since Inauguration Day. 30-year treasuries hit 5% in the US and 5.5% in the UK. This means in an already slow economy, companies are going to have a harder time borrowing long-term capital, and mortgages are going to become even more expensive. People don't trust the debt. For all of the people in the back who don't believe me that this is just about payments and faster settlement, I want to play a clip from the U.S. Treasury Department Secretary saying exactly what the U.S.'s plan is.
How big are you anticipating the stablecoin market will get, and how does that translate to Treasury demand?
Yeah, thanks again for having me. You know, it's an enormous victory today, and it really sets the stage for us to demonstrate our leadership when it comes to financial innovation. Because what this bill does is it says if we modernize the payment system globally, we now have a digital asset that has rules of the road established by Congress for what backs those digital assets. It provides enormous amounts of confidence to not only Americans, but our trading partners around the world, who are then willing to make exchanges, to invoice in dollars and then be paid via stablecoins because they know that it is an asset that has value behind it. Because what is it that backs it? Primarily, it's going to be T-bills. And so if indeed it's the case that this expands even further the portion of international trade that is invoiced in dollars and then allows for nearly immediate payment. So, you know, think about it right now. When a lot of these payments are made, if you wire money abroad, you know, it can be 24, 48 hours between when that's initiated versus when the money is received. If it's done on a blockchain, on a distributed ledger blockchain, it could be minutes, if not seconds. And so it's going to enormously hasten the time frame for making payments. It's more secure. It's more private. It's significantly cheaper. And so if indeed this does revolutionize the way that international payments are invoiced and paid, then there should be a flocking to this technology. And if all of that trade, therefore, is even further denominated in stablecoins, then there's going to be demand for the underlying assets, which are Treasury securities. And we could potentially see on the order of trillions of additional demand.
If you heard from Scott Bessent and the secretary of his office, well, I think that those statements hold a lot of weight. Here's the mechanics of how it's going to work. With all of the eyes being on the Fed and the distrust in the government around money printing, well, they're not going to issue the money themselves. They're going to give the banks the ability to do it for them. They're giving the ability to print T-bills to the banks and you and I. When we post our collateral into a bank from traditional fiat dollars into a digital currency that's going to be backed by T-bills, well, we're effectively creating liquidity in the system and shoring up short-term United States debt. Now, when debt gets on the balance sheets, they're allowed to do a lot more things with that collateral and say, we're good for it. Once we have more T-bills, more collateral is going to come into the system. And that's beautiful for Bitcoiners because Bitcoin is the most highly correlated asset to global money supply. More than gold, more than the S&P 500, more to bonds or any other asset class. It's also an asset class that will perform well even when rates rise. So Bitcoin has actually provided life-changing returns in the fastest rate hiking environment in the history of our US economy. Rates go down, Bitcoin performs well. Rates go up, liquidity goes up, Bitcoin performs well. It doesn't matter. And in that sense, if you have an asset that performs well in bull markets, bear markets, high interest rate environments, low interest rate environments, why would you want to sell it? It seems like that would be a stable asset in your portfolio of assets. One of the things that you shouldn't do with your Bitcoin, knowing these things, is sell it. And one of the ways you can unlock liquidity in your Bitcoin without selling your Bitcoin is by working with Ledn, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Since 2018, they've issued over $9 billion worth of loans and counting to tens of thousands of customers all across the globe. They have the assets that they say they do, as being one of the first digital lenders to do a proof of reserves. Money is issued into your account in less than 24 hours. And the process to fill out an application takes just 2 or 3 minutes. They have over 1,000 5-star customer reviews, and you can trust their service. Go to learn.ledn.io to get started. Loans start at just 12.4% or go down 0.25% if you go to learn.ledn.io/simply. Want to take some time to thank our other sponsor for the show, The Bitcoin Way, who helps you secure your generational wealth the right way by helping you to take self-custody and remove your Bitcoin from third-party exchanges like Coinbase or others. With the Genius Act passing, there's going to be more and more reasons for you to want to keep your Bitcoin and your crypto and assets on exchanges so that you can borrow against them and do other things against them on these platforms. But what you're doing when you do that is you're giving up the rights and control to your sovereign asset. Learn how to avoid the rug pull that will come by going to thebitcoinway.com/simplybitcoin and scheduling a free 30-minute consultation with their team. You won't regret it. With the new Genius Act passing, Bitcoin is the apex predator in this market. The crypto market just surpassed $4 trillion in assets, with Bitcoin making up the majority of those assets. But don't be fooled. The crypto shenanigans are going to come. It's not a matter of if, but when. And here's the clip where I disagree with Michael Saylor.
You can never be sure what'll happen, but I don't think we'll have a bear market like 2022. I think the only people that say that are the crypto bros, and the crypto bros are the ones that created the bear market of 2022. And they did it because they don't understand finance. It's if you lever up yo-yo token 10 or 20 to 1 and in order to create a $10 billion FTT market cap. And then if you pledge $1 billion of yo-yo token and borrow Tether, and then you buy JoJo coin, and then if you lever that up 10 to 1, and then you take that and you buy Bitcoin with it, then at some point yo-yo token or JoJo coin collapses and you've got 100 to 1 leverage in the system. And by the way, and if you're silly enough to give someone $1 billion of loan, $1 billion loan with $800 million of JoJo coin or yo-yo token as collateral, like you're under collateralized to start, then you've just created this massive 100 to 1 leverage structure. And that's exactly what happened in 2022.
With the Genius Act passing and banks having the ability to create or mint money out of thin air, just based upon consumer demand for digital assets and digital tokens. And oh, and by the way, I believe that they are going to wholeheartedly be in the business of issuing tokens for tokens that were already issued, aka crypto crap. The Genius Act is going to create more and more rug pulls when we thought the crypto market was dying. And good news for Bitcoiners, this is just going to create a bear market or a sudden collapse in price that's going to allow us to buy the best asset and long-term asset that we all want in our portfolio at a cheaper price. I'll close with this. I'm an athlete and I love sports. Everywhere I'm always looking for signposts as to a system that doesn't work and is breaking. Example number 1. Last night during the WNBA All-Star game, the women came out wearing a shirt saying, "Pay us what you owe us." Now, this is ironic given that the WNBA has never turned a profit and loses between $30 and $50 million a year. Don't fight me, don't at me. I'm a Fever season ticket holder, and the WNBA All-Star game was in Indianapolis, where I do in fact live. So I'm pretty happy about the WNBA and what's going on. Nonetheless, it highlights the fact that systems are subsidized and don't turn profits because they don't work. The economics don't work. And the bad thing for these women is that the rate of pay, aka Caitlin Clark getting paid $70,000 a year for her WNBA contract, have not risen with the amount of inflation that it costs to live in these major cities where these teams are located. I hope that they're buying Bitcoin. Alicia Gray was the first WNBA player to win the 3-point contest and the skills challenge. She won $100K last year. And I did some research. If she would have just put that $100K into Bitcoin versus the bank where she says that it is, she would have $175,000, or the equivalent of most WNBA players' salary for an entire year by just holding and buying Bitcoin. Imagine being JJ Watt, making $129 million for being one of the most dominant defensive players in the NFL of all time. And your brother, little bro, says, "Hold my beer," or "Hold my Laura," and signs a 3-year extension worth the same amount as your entire career. That's inflation in a nutshell. And that's what will continue to happen. The US government isn't going to default or enter into austerity where we actually spend less than we take in. They're going to print more money. We cannot grow our way out of this situation. There's no way that our GDP outpaces the amount of debt that we have in the system. So in order to not be debased like big brother JJ by your little brother TJ, you need to buy Bitcoin. Instead of just doing what we've always done in a new way with the Genius Act or the Bitcoin and crypto structure bill, let's do something entirely different. That's buy Bitcoin. One of the ways you can continue to invest into your Bitcoin journey is by going down to conferences and meeting Bitcoiners in real life, like the Simply team, who's going to be down in Dallas from November 11th through November 13th at the Mining Disrupt Conference. Get 20% off your ticket by using the promo code SimplyBitcoin. I hope that this episode was valuable, and I hope that you understand that the Genius Act and all of the stablecoin promises about payments and faster settlements doesn't matter. It's about dollar dominance. Wake up, buy Bitcoin. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.